I think I'm gonna go with try to bait the Cobras into spitting acid on the Marauders, because I do have speed on my side. We have a plan, I say, but we'll need to work together, Layla nods. I want you to lure the Cobras here near the Marauders, I say. We'll then face the Cobras with our backs turned to the Marauders. Then when they spit their acids, we jump out of the way, causing the acid to hit the Marauders instead. I'm not sure if it will kill them, but we should easily be able to finish them off after that. Sounds risky, Layla writes. If we don't time that right, we end up either sprayed with acid or impaled by the Marauders from behind. Okay, so the Tramplers are... Wait, what? Who the fuck are Marauders then? But if we time it right, we'll get rid of 3 monsters in one move, I say. What 3 monsters, Layla writes? There are only 2 Marauders left. Yes, I say, but I'm pretty sure that Manticore up in the sky will make a dive at us as soon as we kill the Marauders. The Manticore they went for last time got killed, and don't think this one will take the risk to attack just me. Just make sure that you're ready for it, and you should be able to kill it without much trouble. Alright, later writes, I'll be ready for it. Let's go, I say. We make our way towards the Cobras, and we start throwing rocks at them and making loud noise in order to annoy them. Once we are certain that we got their under attention, we are going to begin to go towards the Marauders, making sure that we are moving at just the right speed so the Cobra can follow us but not catch up. When we reach the Marauders, we turn our backs to them and we stand in place for a few seconds waiting for the Cobras to attack. Those few seconds almost feel like an eternity. When the Cobras finally spit their acid at us, we both jump out of the way at the same times. The spray of the acid hits the Marauders head on as the beasts squirm in pain, and we finish them off quickly, running a blaze through their heads. And then, as I anticipated, the last remaining Manticore makes a bold dive towards Layla, thinking that she is distracted. Layla feigns ignorance until the very last moment, and then she makes a powerful slash at the creature's chest exactly when it reaches her. The Manticore drops to the ground, and Layla finishes it off with one swift strike of a dagger. While the Cobras are still busy gathering more acid in their glands, the two of us distance ourselves from the snakes in order to decide on next course of action. Only Cobras and the Tramplers are now left. The Cobra seems to be getting ready for another round, while the Tramplers are ready to have found a good spot from where they can charge at us, and they're preparing to make a run for it. Strength check level 2. Layla, could you take care of those 2 Cobras, I say. I deal with the Tramplers in the meantime. My strength level should be more than enough to be able to break through their tough hides. I'm on it, Layla writes. You remember what their weakness is, right? I ask her. I remember, Layla writes, and then she turns to leave. As Layla goes to fight the Cobras, I start heading towards the Tramplers. Am I going to... or Trampler Slayer. Am I going to like grab them by the horns or some cool shit like that? The Vikings begin their charge, and we spend the next few seconds running towards each other without giving any signs of stopping. Now, if what I've read in all of my notes is correct, the Tramplers are much easier to intimidate than one would suspect. Tramplers are not used to being challenged on their own turf, as if you keep running towards them at full speed, they're charging at you, they will eventually stop charging and back down. On the other hand, if my notes are wrong, then this would not be going to end very well. Let's hope for the best. We keep running at each other for a few more seconds, and when I get about a few dozen feet away from them, the 2 Tramplers finally stop and they begin to swing their spiked mace tail towards me, an attempt to intimidate me. This is exactly what I was waiting for. A Trampler's strength lies in his charge. A few tail swipes are not good enough to scare off a dumb beast. They're not going to inconvenience me. Make a dash towards one of the Tramplers and make sure to avoid its tail right before I step to the right side and stab it in the neck with my knife. As the beast falls down, waste no time and rush towards the other. The second Trampler attempts to attack me with his horn, but I easily move out of the way and I slit its throat with my blade, causing it to fall slowly to the ground as well. It dies from loss of blood. It died that fast. Hey, that wasn't so hard. Let's see what Layla is doing. It would seem that she didn't have much of the trouble on her end either. Cobras are both dead and she's already heading in my direction. That's it. It's over. The round is finally over. The crowd is going wild. They obviously weren't expecting us to make it. If I were Hardrick, I'd probably be making some sort of speech right now. But to be perfectly honest, all I want at this point is to go back to my division area and get a little bit of rest before the next round begins. After a while, the announcer finally asks us to clear the fighting area. We prepare to go back to our division room. Bruce goes to wake up Wilhelm. When he finally reaches him, he begins slapping his face while shouting loudly at him. Bruce says, Wilhelm, you no good assassin, get up. The first round is over. We need to clear the area. A few more slaps in the face, Wilhelm opens his eyes, grabs Bruce's hand, and then grips it hard, looking at him as if he wants to murder him right now. I'm awake, Wilhelm says, forcing a calm tone in his voice. Let's get out of here. It takes us about a minute, but we eventually get back to our division area. Once we enter our room, the iron gates closes itself behind us. I need to go get something from my backpack, Wilhelm says, shortly after we enter the room. I'll be right back. I hope you won't try to assassinate anyone else on your way to the locker room, Wilbur. Bruce says, if you get knocked out again, I'm not going to be coming to wake you up. Then gives Bruce a scornful look before he opens the door. Why didn't we kill him, by the way? I don't think he's that needed for the fight if he's just an assassin. But he leaves the room without saying another word. The announcer says, all of a sudden it appears that we need to take a small break in order to do a little inventory for the remaining creatures. Please remain patient, they shouldn't take long. Ha, Bruce says, they're already running out of creatures, but they weren't expecting so many of them to be taken out of the first fight. Was that all? I was hoping to see more impressive collection of creatures. I don't think they're done. I haven't even seen any griffins yet. Or maybe they're only just done with a small fry and the show is just beginning. I don't think they're done. I haven't even seen any griffins yet. Yeah, but the griffins can compare to manticores in terms of deadliness, Bruce says. They're probably saving them as their last reserve in case they ran out of everything else. Hearing some assassin's motive. As we wait for the announcer to resume the event, I start hearing some voices coming from further down the hallway outside. The two people talking appear to be Wilhelm and the ambassador of Olander. I paid you to get the job done, not to hear your excuses, the banda shouts. You didn't pay me anything, Wilhelm says. You just promised that you get me out of this place and you'd make sure that I don't get executed for killing a teammate as long as I keep... Oh, because you can't kill a teammate? I don't get executed for killing a teammate. As long as I kept my end of the bargain, well... I'm here to tell you that the deal's off. I'm not doing it anymore. It's too risky. I already tried to assassinate him once and I failed. He'll be expecting it now. There's no point in trying to assassinate a target that's already onto you. If you can't backstab him anymore, then you attack him directly, you moron, the master says. I don't care how you get the job done. I want him dead. I'm not doing any job anymore, Wilhelm says. Stop bothering me. I've already said what I have to say. Soon after the conversation ends, the announcer picks his voice magnifier back up and he gets ready to make another announcement. Sorry for the delay, everyone, the announcer says. After checking to see which creatures we had left, it would appear that we were down to our last reserves after the last fight. If this division will manage to kill all the creatures as well, then we'll be forced to go back to our regular stock of creatures, so the division that follow. Now, with all that said, I would like to introduce to you the 5th division. When the Iron Gates gets raised, Kate is the first one to step out of the fighting arena. But she doesn't have her magic, does she? So how would she even fight? I mean, she can still do the dagger stuff. Kate is the first one to step out into the fighting area. As she proceeds in the middle of the area, the other members of her division also start to follow in her footsteps. As I get a look at all the Kate's teammates, I get the sudden realization that Kate is likely the most capable fighter in her division, even without her magic. Most of the others look severely out of shape, and some of them don't even have weapons. They clearly aren't the type of gladiators that came here willingly. As the unarmed fighters go to get their weapons of choice from the walls of the arena, the new creatures are slowly beginning to walk out of the den. Recognize the creatures immediately as being the ones that I encountered 2 days ago in the Nagout Cavern, or some of them at least. The giant rats are missing. I guess they may have only been there as food for Griffin. Either way, this is looking pretty bad. I don't see Kate dealing with these monsters all by herself, and her teammates likely won't be of much help. Will she be forced to use her magic? Things could get real ugly if she does. I don't even want to think about what would happen in that scenario. Maybe she can make it somehow. There's always hope. The harpies and the gargoyles are the first ones to make their way out of the den, and they immediately take to the air, studying their targets carefully. By the way, I did not expect the fight to go as well as it did. I think this fight was to subvert expectations. I think they all thought that it's going to be a big arena event. So the main points of this fight is going to be toughness, strength, combat technique, or something like that. Speed. Speed was part of it, but most people would think that. So most people probably were going to be like, oh man, let's put in this and this and this. And it just went perfectly for me, because most of the things that I needed, I don't think I actually got hit once. And yeah, so the toughness never came into play. I did fail a couple of checks, but that was like out of 3 I failed 1, so it was still fucking good. So I was still pretty fucking good. So that went way better than I expected, honestly. Harpies are hideous creatures that have the appearance of a woman with scales, wings, and claws. They might look almost human, but in reality they couldn't be more different. I mean, harpies are fucking hot, aren't they? Harpies in most fantasy novels are generally shown as like hot. Most of the time. Sometimes they are shown a little bit hideous, but they're still fairly like womanly, I suppose. I don't know why they're going this route, like, oh, they're hideous creatures, stay away from them. I don't know. If harpies were real in our world, man, the world would be different.